Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Evening, people. We are back. 12 man's back. I'm back. Solo stream, Arsenal talk. This evening, we are going to be talking about the transfer news. And of course, Arsenal are very much spoken about in the news media, articles, sources, Twitter, X, TikTok, YouTube. Transfer window is starting to hot up. Are we excited? I think we've got a little bit to be excited about. There's still a long way to go in this window, and Arsenal's still got a lot to do, but we are going to talk about it. We're going to be talking about links of incomings and links of outgoings, and we are going to talk a little bit about Arsenal's game with Manchester United this weekend, which I'm sure all of you are looking forward to. Big up to everybody in the chat room. Big up to Carol. Big up to Nando. Big up to AFC Lemmy. Big up to Matt, big up to Dappy, big up to Joseph, big up to Guna85, big up to Sammy, big up Tony, Will, who else have we got in here? Niffin, Colin, and big up to everyone else that's watching on Catch Up as well. Big up to Ronnie, big up to Gavin, big up to you all. Make sure you do me a favor, people. Well over 100 people in here already. Great stuff. Please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you subscribe. Once you've done those two things, which are free, and the click of two buttons, I need you to click on the pinned comment and get yourself some beard trimmers. Go to the Beard Hedger and you will automatically get 20% off of the trimmers. So please make sure that you do that. There is a deal you cannot miss. It is not here forever. So please make sure you make the most of it, people, and support the sponsors of the channel, Manscaped, which I'm sure you're all aware of anyway. Not just below the belt grooming now. They do beard trimmers, and this is what we are trying to sell. So make sure that we support them by clicking on that link and ordering the Beard Hedger. We're going to talk Merino. We're going to talk Fabian Ruiz. We're going to talk about outgoings. Eddie, Nelson, Smith-Rowe, Kivior, R. Ramsdale and Tierney going to be on that list. Is a midfielder going to be on that list? And I'm talking about a Party, maybe a Fabio Vieira, maybe someone else. Let's talk about it. Get your questions into the chat. I want your questions tonight. Please make sure that you put a Q at the start of it, just like Nando has. He's aware of it already. Please make sure you put a Q at the start so I know that it is a question. Otherwise, trust me, it will get missed and I won't star it. If you want to put a super chat in, I'd love to get some tonight. If you have got the time to donate to the channel, please make sure that you do that by throwing in a super chat. Those questions will be read out first. So if you do want your question on screen, then please make sure you chuck in a super chat. Otherwise, please make sure that it is a question by putting a Q at the start of it. And actually ask me a question, not just a statement. I get quite a few people that just put a Q and then just put a statement. And it's like, where's the question? So please make sure that it is a question and put a Q at the start of it. And we'll go through it. Right, now you've hit the like button. Now you've subscribed. It's time to talk football. We're going to start with Mikel Merino. Now, there's a lot of rumours and suggestions that potentially Barcelona might be pulling out of this race. They have got money. Do not be fooled. Laporta has come out and suggested that financially they're fine. So everybody's thinking that Barcelona are skint. They ain't got no money. They ain't going to be able to afford him. It's going to be an Arsenal player. Williams is coming. Marino's coming. Everyone's coming to Arsenal because Barcelona have got no money. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's a load of rubbish. They absolutely do have money. And they do have money every single summer. Why are we surprised? I mean, Barcelona have got to be the ones that people, I don't know, maybe can't feel sorry for. Is that fair to say? Like, I never, ever feel sorry for Barcelona when it comes to money. Like, they always end up being okay. Whether they sell somebody for a crazy amount of money, whether they go for a period of time where they're owing people money, they still just get away with it. And I don't like them, if I'm honest. I don't like them as a football club. So, has to be said, I'm not a fan of Barcelona when it comes to, finances. And I feel like it's a bit of a mockery of FFP, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, I'm kind of frustrated with them. So let's see what happens with Barcelona. I don't really care what business they do. If it does affect us in terms of who we're linked with, then of course they'll be mentioned. But other than that, let them do their thing, man, and let them worry about their own financial situation. Let's worry about ours. Let's start with Mikel Merino. Do you know what? Tom Canton, big him up. I will big him up. And I'll tell you why I'll big him up. Because he sent me something 3 years ago where Granit Xhaka looked like he was leaving Arsenal. If you remember the incident where he threw the T-shirt down, the armband down at Palace, walked out, and everyone thought that's him done. He did a show talking about potential replacements for Granit Xhaka. Two of the names on the list 3 years ago were Mikel Merino and Fabian Ruiz. Can you believe it? Big up to Tom. He obviously does his homework and does his research. But Mikel Merino, I can see this one happening. And the reason I can see it happening is because it looks as though after Calafiori, which we'll touch on in a minute, Mikel Merino is the guy that Arsenal want. And that's according to quite a lot of sources. Fabrizio Romano is one of them, of course. And there's quite a few, Graham Bailey, some of the other Arsenal media outlets such as Charles Watts, James Benz, they're all speaking about Mikel Merino as being the guy that potentially we're going to be looking to go for. So I believe this one has got some legs. I just think it's an easy deal to do, guys. 6'2", physically imposing, 28 years old, has worn the armband, got leadership qualities, definitely a player that we should be looking at 100% coming into the mix. Definitely not going to be a guaranteed starter, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that those that are saying that he's actually just a meaty midfielder, he's not that great, he's not going to take us to the next level. I don't think it's harsh to say that. I don't think it's out of order to suggest that that might be the case. I don't think he is going to take us across the line for a title. I don't look at the signing on Merino and think, do you know what? Yeah, fair. It's going to take us to the title. No, it's not. It's going to replace Granit Xhaka potentially and give us some rotation in there. And he is a number 8, a proper number 8, and that's somebody that we need. And I just feel that Declan Rice being the only option there for Arsenal is never good, to be honest. It really isn't. Look, I personally feel like this could be a signing that could be quite simple to get done. Real Sociedad have said that he's potentially leaving. One doesn't want to be at the club. He does not want to be at Real Sociedad. He's told them he wants out. Barcelona were interested, but he, unlike Nico Williams, I don't believe has his heart set on a move to Barcelona, and he doesn't seem to be too set on 100% ruling out anything other than Spain. So for me, he's definitely welcoming a move from Arsenal. Now, if you believe what you read, Mikel Arteta is a big fan. And I think a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about midfielders and his name come up, everybody kind of went, ooh, like, who is this guy? Luckily, the Euros has provided us with a little bit of evidence of what he can do. Scoring the winner against Germany, very good in the air. Does score some goals, not a lot, but does get on the end of things. I also believe that there's an opportunity for us to see what he can do in a team that's performing very well, with midfielders around him that are doing very well. The likes of Rodri, the likes of Fabian Ruiz, the likes of Dani Olmo, Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams. These are all guys that he's played with at the Euros in Spain and has actually delivered with. So for me, he's going to be full of confidence, brimming of confidence, as well as Fabian Ruiz. So for me, I think Mikel Merino would be a very good signing. £20 million. Come on, guys. That is a very easy deal to get done. Like, even Edu and Arteta must be able to get that one done fairly quickly, right? We've seen what's happened with Calafiori, but we need to make sure that if we are in for this player, that we do get him across the line within the next few days, because it really isn't that hard a deal to get done. He's back now. He's getting himself fit. He's definitely made it clear he wants out. Arsenal have made it clear they want him. So as long as there's nobody else coming in with the bids, then let's just get it accepted and get the deal done. That's what I say anyway. Let's take a look at what AFC stuff is saying on Twitter, because I'm always a fan of what some of the journalists there are saying. And it seems as though they are in agreement that this could be a go and may have some legs. According to Graham Bailey, he says once the Calafiori deal is finalised, Arsenal will pursue their next target, which is expected to be a midfielder. TBR Football can confirm that Real Sociedad's Mikel Merino is emerging as Arsenal's top target. So for me, it's got to happen. If we are wanting this guy as our top target, we have to get it over the line. There's no like ifs, buts, or maybes here. Like, he's the one we want. Mikel Arteta has made it clear he's the one that we want. So go get him. This is not like we're trying to find, I don't know, £85 million here to try and put in a bid for Bruno Guimaraes. This is a guy who clearly wants to leave the club, who's definitely got an interest in Arsenal, who's spoken, we believe, to the reps of Mikel Arteta, the reps of Mikel Merino, tried to sell him the project. they're given a price of between 20 and 25 million. If we want him, go get him. Like, it really is not a hard deal. I don't feel personally anyway. I mean, this is a player who I think has definitely coming in as a squad rotation player. I don't think if everybody's fit, he still starts ahead of Rice, Partey or Odegaard, if I'm honest. Maybe Rice is the 6. Partey is going to be used more as a 15, 20 game a season player in this coming season because of how injury prone he's been. I'm cool with that because that means Merino comes into the mix at the 8, Rice sits at the base of the 6, and then Odegaard in the 10. But there is other opportunities for us to change our system. And I spoke with Tom about this and I spoke with Sophie about this. And he was speaking more about if Odegaard was to get an injury, perhaps we might look to do something with 2 strikers up top in terms of maybe Havertz and Jesus playing off of each other. We've seen before Havertz and Trossard do that similarly, particularly away after Dubai last season just gone. We did see that. But I think we could actually see a double pivot quite a bit here because Partey and Jorginho can play in that double pivot with Declan Rice. If we were to get Merino, he could play in that double pivot with Declan Rice. So for me, there's opportunities for us to do that and then play Odegaard in the 10. And you don't have to worry about 6s or 8s or anybody coming in that's going to be a 6 or an 8 or, oh, we can only afford one. We're not going to get both. Well, if you can only afford one, then potentially you can play a double pivot. And then you won't have to worry about, oh, we don't have a 6 cover or we don't have an 8 cover or Odegaard now is. So for me, there could be a system change in certain games. I'm not saying in every single game, but certainly for me, there could be an opportunity for us to actually look at playing a double pivot. And if you remember against Liverpool, Manchester City, the Emirates, that's exactly what we did. We played Jorginho and Rice together in the double pivot, and it worked. We won both games, if you remember. Well, of course you remember. They were unbelievable games. So for me, I would not be surprised if there was an opportunity for us to do that. Do please listen to the instructions of that guy, D. Hit the like button for the channel. We are currently, at the moment, 377 people are in here, and we've only got 84 likes. That's terrible. You're moving like Edu and Arteta in the transfer market, people. Let's make sure that you hit the like button. Let's make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Those 2 buttons are free. Come on, let's be real. Let's get it up to 100 very quickly, and then let's get it up to 200 even quicker. Nearly 400 people in here now. I only asked for 50%. I think that's fair. Let's get it up to 200 people. Come on, get the mods to do us a favor as well and shout out, hit the like button. Make sure you click on the pinned comment as well and go and sort yourself out the beard hedger. I've been told it's a bit of a maze to get there, but it really isn't that hard. You click on the pinned comment, it will take you to the website, and then all you've got to do then is go to Beard and Face, Beard Hedger, add it to your cart, check it out, and then 20% will come off automatically if you use that link. So make sure you do that. If you do need to put the code in for any other reason, it's FTM20. So make sure that you do that, people. Great present for you, for someone, or good for yourself if you've got a beard like myself and want to keep it trim. Let's get back to transfer news, shall we? Because if we are looking at Mikel Merino, it's a very good signing. But is he the only one that we want? Now, a lot of people are suggesting we need 2 midfielders. I'm one of those. I think we do need 2 midfielders. Some people are saying that we need just one that can play in the 6 and the 8. And I agree that would be fine. But I do feel like we need someone who can definitely play in the 8 as well as the 6. They have to definitely play in the 8 for me, which is something that Mikel Merino can do. Now, there are reports suggesting that if Mikel Merino's on his way, then we might actually be looking at a double Spanish transfer here, because Fabian Ruiz is being linked with Arsenal. Now, last night he was kind of getting loosely linked with a move, and it's kind of moved forward a little bit with some more information, I would suggest, is the word. João Neves is on his way to PSG. Renato Sanchez is going the other way to Benfica. Now, Benfica are apparently getting around about 70 to 80 million pounds for this player, and I think that's good money for them. But I also think it's a bloody good signing for PSG. I would have been very happy with that sort of signing at Arsenal, let's be real. But what does that mean for Fabian Ruiz? Well, what it might mean for Fabian Ruiz is that he's going to go. Now, before the Euros, PSG were rumoured to be actually linked with getting rid of this guy anyway. Now, I liked him at Napoli, and I thought the Fabian Ruiz that we got at Napoli, if he can take that form to Arsenal, we've got one hell of a player. I think at the Euros, he was one of the players of the tournament. He really stood out for me in midfield. I know that Rodri's outstanding and that maybe anybody looks good next to him, but the whole of that Spanish midfield really did click. Now, I think Mikel Merino coming into the mix, probably like for Spain, he might not even get ahead of Fabian Ruiz, and Ruiz might actually be a starter if he comes in at Arsenal ahead of Mikel Merino. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these two are going to communicate with each other to see if they can both get a move to Arsenal if they're both interested. Because I think they'd be interested in each other's kind of aspirations at the club. Who's going to start? Are they both going to compete for the same number 8 place? How's that going to work? If they both come in, does Declan Rice start in the 6 and Ruiz and Merino fight for the 8 position? Does Thomas Partey start in the 6, Declan Rice in the 8, and then Merino and Fabian Ruiz are there as backup? This is what we need, people. This is what we need. It's competition for places. And as much as I'm not excited by either of those in terms of, a De Jong or a Bruno Guimaraes type signing, I do think they're good players. Like, they're very good players. They put in consistent performances. They're reliable. They've got experience. Both of them are 28 years old. They've got club and international and winning the Euros experience. For me, it's going to be a good thing bringing these two guys in, man. They clearly know each other, clearly worked with each other before. I think it could be good news. Now, Fabian Ruiz, they're saying, could be available on loan. That's just got to happen. Like that is an absolute madness if it does not happen. For me, Fabian Ruiz on loan with an obligation to buy. They don't want anything more than around 35 to 40 million pounds for him. If we're willing to pay that on Vieira, surely we're going to be willing to pay it on Fabian Ruiz, right? Because Fabian Ruiz is a player that I think has been very consistently good for Napoli, very good for PSG when he has played. Not always got in the first team, but it's hard to do that at PSG sometimes. And I don't think he's really fit into Luis Enrique's system, if I'm honest with you. But I have to say, for Spain, he looks really good next to Rodri. Could he look very good next to Declan Rice? Similar styles of play. I think Rodri's the best in the world, so I'm not comparing Rice to him. But I think if you're going to compare or put some of the best number 6s in the league up there, after Rodri, Declan Rice is the one that you look at, right? So for me, if we're going to be playing a double pivot, I think Fabian Ruiz can come in there. And then Merino is your backup. He can start some games. Fabian Ruiz can start some games. If you want to play Partey and wrap him in cotton wool, which is what I would do for his final year of his contract alongside Jorginho, you can do that. And then all of a sudden, you've got a little bit of a squad there in midfield. You're going into Carabao Cup games playing Partey and Jorginho in the double pivot, and then maybe even Nwaneri in front of him. You've also got options to play, if you wanted to, different formations and styles. 6, 8, 10, double pivot. You could even play like an old school 4-4-2 if you wanted. If Ødegaard wasn't your starter after the Carabao Cup team, you could probably look to play 2 of them there, like the Vieira and Gilberto kind of days. I think there's different options there. I really do. And I think that what we need to do is future-proof that midfield. And I keep using that term because they are not young anymore, Thomas Partey and Jorginho. They are going to be gone. Now, at the moment, we leave us with Declan Rice if the midfield stays the same. We get Ruiz and Merino in there. Then you've got Rice, Merino, and Fabian Ruiz, and then Ødegaard as well. And even Nwaneri coming through as well, we've got to remember. So for me, the midfield, I can see it chopping and changing a little bit throughout the season. And I think there might be a bit of a system change. I really do. I really wouldn't be surprised to see a double pivot against the likes of Manchester City, Liverpool, maybe even Spurs at home, maybe a Liverpool, Manchester United at home. It might be that we look at changing it up a little bit. So, real talk, I actually think there's an opportunity for that. Before we take some questions, make sure you get your questions in, people. Make sure you put a queue. Make sure you put in a super chat. It will go to the front of the queue. Make sure you've hit like and make sure you've hit subscribe. That's all I ask you to do. 2 buttons. Like, subscribe. Done. Sit back and relax. That's all I ask. Nearly 500 of you in here now. That means we should easily get to 250 likes, people. So make sure that we do that. We're creeping up towards 200. Let's get to 200 and then let's hit 250. Then let's hit 300 and we go up from there, people. So let's keep going. Listen, let's talk a little bit about some outgoing, shall we? Because it looks to me as if Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah and Reiss Nelson are all leaving. Now, as much as I've got sentimental thoughts about Emil Smith-Rowe, I haven't really got that many about Eddie Nketiah. I think for me, Eddie Nketiah has had enough chances. He's had enough times to prove himself. He's not done it. And if we can get anywhere close to 30 to 35 million that we have for Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah has to go. As for Reiss Nelson, I've got a lot of time for Reiss. Love the fact he's a proper gooner. I love the fact he wanted to stay and try and fight for his place here, but it hasn't worked for him either. He needs to go and get first team football. And if Leicester want him, I think we should say fair play. I think obligation to buy would be fantastic. Loan, 15, 20 million. Let's accept that. Get Eddie gone to Marseille if he wants to for 30 million. Emil Smith-Rowe to Fulham. You've got there potentially 85, 90 million that you're touching with those 3 players gone. That is actually really good. That's really good money for those 3 that, let's be real, haven't really impressed everybody at the club. Emil Smith-Rowe's been injury prone. Reece Nelson's not been able to hold down a first team position. And Eddie's been given so many chances. The fan base have actually got quite frustrated by how much faith Arteta has shown in him. So for me, getting rid of those would be a bonus. Jacob Kivior, also rumoured to get out of the club for around about 20 to 25. Serie A clubs are interested in him. Inter Milan being one of them. There's still future uncertainty over Thomas Partey and if Saudi Arabian clubs are to come in. No interest as we speak at the moment. Zinchenko, gone quiet. Bayern Munich don't rule out them coming in last minute, but at the moment they need to sell before they buy. Aaron Ramsdale, no interest at the moment. A few Premier League clubs talking about it. But for me, I don't feel like it's a given that he will 100% be gone. Kieran Tierney's got injury problems at the moment, so will he be going? That's a massive question mark. So I think there's potential for us to get rid of a few players and make some money, but we're talking about 120, 130 million potentially. That could then be added to the transfer kitty, which we're being told is around about 150 to 200 million. That means we could have 300 million to spend here, people. 300 million. Now, for me, that's exciting. And I want to be looking at the likes of Merino and Ruiz start happening now. I want to see some incomings at this club. Let's take a look at Fabrizio Romano's latest because there was some news earlier. It's not going to shock or surprise anybody, but finally, this looks like it might be happening tomorrow. Calafiori's travel plans have been rescheduled again with a new plan due to Arsenal and Bologna completing all the formal documents only right now. Calafiori will travel from Roma to London the early morning of Saturday. So we expect to see him in London tomorrow morning. The medical will be in London and then he'll travel to the US. Now, there's a lot of people that are excited about this and I am one of them. I must say, I think this will be a very, very good signing. It's one that I'm excited about. I'm glad that he can join up in the pre-season and we can actually see him. I've got no doubt that he will improve that left-hand side. Links to Merino and Ruiz definitely going to be improving the left-hand side of midfield. And then it's all on the left wing and the striker. And if we can get a winger and a striker on top of Calafiori and those 2 midfielders, I think we've had a very good window, guys. I really do. I don't think we can complain about that. Now, I don't want to get ahead because at the moment we've only just about signed Calafiori and that's taking its time. Goalkeepers come in we don't really know much about. It ain't been enough yet. We can't get excited yet. We're not happy with what the window we've seen so far. But the rumours suggest that the positions that we're linked with could get quite excited. Because if there's a goalkeeper coming in, it's going to be to replace Ramsdale as backup. If it's going to be a left back coming in, it's going to be Calafiori. He's going to hold down a place finally and be our left back. In midfield, Merino and Ruiz are definitely players that are coming in a position that we need them in the left 8. And then we've got the winger and the striker scenario. Now, a lot of people are saying that we might need a replacement for Smith-Rowe, and I would actually agree with that. I hope it's Eze. It's an easy deal to get done. It's £60 million release clause with 8 in add-ons. That might be a lot of money to some, but I've just told everybody what we're going to be spending here. We've got potential to be spending over 250 million. So let's get Eze in. That's an easy deal to get done. It's a release clause we can activate. Let's activate the release clause of Nico Williams. It's £49 million. Do you know the worst that can happen? He says, no, mate, I want to go Barca. Cool. We've had the ambition to go for it, right? I don't know why people get so uptight about this. Oh, I wouldn't go for it because it was embarrassing if he says no to Arsenal. No, it won't. If he says no, I don't want to come to your stinking club. It's awful. I hate London and I hate red and white. Then I'd understand why people will get really peeved, right? But he's not, is he? He's saying, look, I'm flattered, but unfortunately, my heart's set on Barca and I want to stay here in Spain. Calm. We move on. We go to Pedro Neto or somebody else, right? That's what needs to happen. So I don't understand why we're in a position where it's so, oh, don't release it just in case it says no. I don't want all the rival fans will kill us. Who cares? Go for it. Show the ambition. Do you know what I'm saying? This is what we need to do at this club. We need to be the big club by going, right, I want him. Go and do what Manchester United have done. Don't let Euro even think about Real Madrid. Just go, whoa, okay, I'll go over to Manchester United. This is what we should be doing right now. We've got the money. Go activate the release clause. It's easy. Activate the release clause of Eze and Nico Williams, and we've got our replacements for Smith-Rowe, and we've got our cover for Saka. Done. That's what we should be doing. 100 odd million. Perfect. 2 players coming in. Ruiz and Merino. Merino's 20. Fabian Ruiz is going to be, 35 million next summer? So for 20 million, with a little bit of wages, we spent about 120, 125 million here, and we've got 4 players in that are all going to improve the squad. That's what I think. Now let's talk about the striker before we bring in some questions. There's a lot of talk about a striker, and there's a lot of people that believe it might be this guy. Now, Victor Gyökeres is a player that I do like. I will say that. Now, he's not a player that I look at and think, oh, yeah, I've been watching him for years. I've been following him for ages. I've been the biggest fan. I'm not one of those. But when you do a bit of research and look at what the player is and what he can bring to the team, I'm actually quite impressed. I think the stats are there. He's a goal scorer. He's got attributes I like in a number 9. He actually is a better ball carrier than you think. He's got threat in the air. He's good with both feet. I think this could be a good signing. The problem is he's 100 million euros for a release clause, which is 84 million pounds. So it's not a lot of money. You don't look at it and go, oh my God, he's 150 million. We ain't touching him. 84 million for a striker who's scored 80 goals in the last 2 seasons. Ain't too bad, is it? Ain't too bad. $1 million a goal. There we go. But for me, I think it would be a good signing. And the question I've got for you is, and I'll tell you what, right? I'll tell you what we'll do. So you guys can get involved, and we'll go through the questions, I promise you. So you guys can get involved in this before we move to questions, right? Put yes or no in the chat for your answer to this question, right? I'll ask you a question. Would you rather buy Gyökeres now, or would you rather wait for Isak in the summer? If you're answering yes, it means you'd rather buy Gyökeres now. If you're saying no, you're going to wait for Isak in the summer. Let's just get an understanding of what you believe, because I think it'll be really interesting to see here. Some people saying, yep, buy him now. We've got no. Okay, so a lot of people are interested in getting interested in Isak in the summer. That could be interesting, very interesting. I would love him, by the way, I must say. Absolutely, I would. No. Some are saying yes. Yes, we've actually got a lot more yeses than no's now. Wow, yes. See, so a lot of people are saying that they 100% would go for Gyökeres. So this is what I'm saying. Isak in the summer for me would be fantastic. Isak this window would be even better. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I feel personally like Isak is definitely not for sale this summer. And if he signs an extension at Newcastle and they get Champions League football this season, I don't think he'll even go in this following summer. Now, we could make that happen by going, yeah, you don't want to go. Here's 150 million and we'll put you on 300k a week. See what he says then. That's what Arsenal have got to start doing, in my opinion. So, I personally believe that Gyökeres potentially has some legs. And I honestly believe that even if we signed him, Kai Havertz will still play in the number 9 against Wolves. Whether that means he'll start there and Gyökeres will take 5-6 weeks to come in, I don't know. I don't think he goes straight in, though. I actually believe he'll be moulded in. So that could be something that we look at with any striker that we get. For those that don't think we're going to get a striker, I would say this to you in reply to that. Why did we go for Sesko then? Because those links were real. We wanted him, but he decided then to stay on at Leipzig, as we know. Why are we believing that we don't need a striker if we went for Sesko? So, personally, I don't think there is... Or do I? Before I say this. No, actually, I will say it. Let's say we get Gyökeres and it works, but it doesn't get us across the line. There's nothing stopping us from going and getting Isak again next season, even if we do have Gyökeres as well. I'll say that now. 1, both Swedish, know each other very well. 2, Martin Odegaard is very close to Alexander Isak and played with him at Real Sociedad, where he was assisting him for fun. So if it doesn't work out, maybe you say to Jesus next summer, sorry, mate, it ain't worked out. Alexander Isak is coming in. And I'm saying this as Isak because he's the only one, the only one right now that I look at and go, you're going to win Arsenal the league. You're getting us across the line. But am I wrong? Could Victor Gyökeres do that? Because I look at the XG of Victor Gyökeres, the stats of Gyökeres, the stats that say that he is a finisher. Would we have won the league with Victor Gyökeres up top last season instead of Kai Havertz? Would he have not missed like Havertz did against Villa? Would he have not missed like Trossard did against Villa? Would he have put the chances away that our team missed against Liverpool in the FA Cup, against West Ham at the Emirates, against Fulham at the Emirates? We only needed one more win. That's all we needed. So could he have done that? I think that's the big question for me. So goalkeeper, no movement. Calafiori medical tomorrow. Merino and Ruiz, massive links. Eze or Neto at the moment, and Williams all linked but very loosely. And Victor Gyökeres, if any striker comes in, is the one that looks potentially likely. So let's see what happens. Let's come to your questions because there's quite a few of them. Nando, they're gonna big up, bro. He says, why can't Arsenal buy Merino and still loan Ruiz? Why do people keep saying one or the other? I don't think people will say one or the other. I think there's potential to get both of them. I really do. And I think that we need to get both of them 100%. So I'm with you. Saskia Guna says, Dan, if we do get both Spaniards in, what would be your best starting midfield then for us? I think the best starting midfield, believe it or not, when everybody is fit, is still Partey, Rice and Odegaard. I've seen nothing to say that Partey in the last month has had a massive decline of footballer and can't get into the first team. But Fabian Ruiz and Merino are definitely there that are coming in if and when, and I don't like to say this about Partey, when Partey gets injured. He's going to get injured. Yeah. Maybe Mikel Arteta knows that and says Partey never starts for us now. Partey's the guy that comes in and he's the squad player because of his injuries, because he's hit over 30. Therefore, I would play Rice in the 6, Fabian Ruiz in the 8, and Odegaard in the 10. And then Merino and Partey are on the bench. That's what I would do if that's the case. Great question, though. This one comes in from Nando as well. It says, if you could sign Nico or Victor Gyökeres, why can't we buy both? Again, I agree. I think that we should be looking at both those options, 100%. Wow, weird opening ceremony. Canada wins in end with Celine Dion. Must be talking about the Olympics there. I need to really read these questions off for the link I'm on the screen. Which two signings would make you confident about winning the Premier League next season? Okay, out of the ones that we are being linked with, I have to be real. I have to, be realistic because I can only go with the ones we're linked with. I would say out of the ones that I are being linked with, I would go with Nico Williams and Victor Gyökeres. I think that could win us the league. I really do. Yeah, that's what I would go with. That's what I would say. Potentially Eze, but I think it will be the other two. Danny says, Dan, if we could only sign one of Merino or Ruiz, who would be your choice? Fabian Ruiz would be my choice. I've been more impressed with him. This one comes in from Ronnie. Says, if Merino comes in, does Rice play the 6? Yeah, potentially. I think he would. I think Rice would be the 8 in Arteta's eyes. However, I think this season he's seen that he can play in both, and he was phenomenal. I think people liked him in the 8 because he was more involved in some of the goals, but people forget how good he is in the 6, man. Like he was phenomenal at the start of the season. I think he got like 8 man of the matches playing there. So come on, man, he's a phenomenal talent. Darren says, do you think Arsenal are doing their need to do to win this year? I'm not sure I understand what that's asking, Darren. What do we need to do to win this year? Is that what it means? I think the positions need to be covered, bro. I think we need to look at a left back in Calafiori. I think we need to look at our midfield and get 2 in. I think we need to make sure that Saka's got covered and that we've got a number 9. That's what I believe. And hopefully Arsenal get majority of those positions covered. This comes in from North London Forever, AFC TV. Says, if we sign Merino and Gyökeres after signing Calafiori and Timber, and Jesus is back at least 90 following their knee injuries, would you agree we could be at least joint favourites for the Premiership? I don't think we'll ever be joint favourites because Man City will always be favourites. 5 in a row they're going for this year. But certainly I believe if we fill those positions that we've got a great chance of going for it. I really do, my bro. So that's a good question. What phase are you in, mate? That's a brilliant name. Why do so many fans want Chiesa? The guy would be the worst injury-prone player ever. Yes, listen, I've got to say, I am a huge fan of the Chiesa we saw in the World Cup a few years ago, but I am not, and I repeat, not. Or was it even the Euros, actually, wasn't it? I repeat, not a fan of this because he is so injury-prone and made of glass. It's crazy. And I know people will throw it back at me and say, hypocrite, Guarantee, Pedro Neto, and start naming players, Isak, that all get injured. But this guy is a talent, but my word, he's not been able to show it due to injuries. I'm not too sure that would be a fantastic signing, if I'm honest. I've spoken about that one, Chris. So apologies, that's the duplicate question. But if you want to put in another one, please feel free. Paul says, hey, Dan, big up yourself. Do you think Arsenal would give Nelson plus cash for kudos? I think we would do bits at Arsenal. He would do bits at Arsenal and we should have got him before. Well, listen, I agree with the latter. We should have actually got him before. I really believe that. I thought that was the signing we should have. And from what I hear, I personally don't know if I believe it or not, but the PSR got in the way of us getting him in the summer. That's what I was told. That was the player we wanted. It was Brighton, Arsenal, and West Ham. He looked at all three clubs, Chelsea as well, I believe. And yeah, Brighton didn't want to put in the release clause, so they didn't bother. West Ham put in the release clause, which is now expired, which hardly anybody knew about, by the way. And I think the release clause is able to be activated next summer. And Arsenal couldn't afford him in the end because we'd gone for Havertz and Rice and Timber and Raya and all this kind of stuff. So that is why we didn't get him. But I would absolutely love Kudus. I think he's a talented player. I really do. This one comes in from Ben Gunnar. Says, Potsy, would you be happy if we finished second? FA Cup winners, Carabao Cup quarter-finalists and Champions League semi-finalists. Wow, that's very specific, bro. Very specific. I wouldn't be happy with coming second, but I would be happy with winning a trophy. If we won a trophy and we were in a title race, I think that's a season you could say it's successful because you're doing that at the end of the season. So yeah, I would say that was successful as long as we are lifting a trophy at the end of it. This one comes in from Ronnie. Says, do you think Merino and Ricardo will make Martinelli better? This is a brilliant question, Ronnie. Absolutely fantastic question. This is something I wanted to touch on actually. So this is a really good segue. Okay, let me talk to you about this one. So for me, I personally believe that the left-hand side has been pretty poor for a while. And I don't like to be negative about players, but for me, I thought Martinelli was one of the weakest players last season. And I think that's a really horrible thing to have to say because he's one of my favourite players, right? But I thought he was pretty poor. I don't think he got into the games. I don't think he was at his best. And he didn't look the same Martinelli. It does frustrate me when he runs with his head down. I would have liked to think that the coaching team would have tried to get him to not do that by now. But you cannot knock his work rate. You cannot knock the tenacity. You cannot knock the fact that he absolutely loves playing football. And I will say this. I actually believe, personally, that he will have a very good season this season. Hear me out. People might think he's finished. Nico Williams might come in. Eze might come in. Pedro Neto might come in. A winger's coming in. Martinelli's going to be finished. Trossard's ahead of him. Saka's going to play on the right. Martinelli's going to be finished. I think Martinelli is good enough to force himself back into this team. I also think that with the signing of Calafiori and potentially Ruiz or Merino or both, I think when we see that, I honestly believe that Martinelli will be a completely different player. And I'm talking about Martinelli of this season before last, by the way. We're not talking about, wow, is Martinelli ever going to come good? I think he struggled on that left-hand side. And I honestly believe that there's a place in the team for Martinelli. He was one of the most underrated players in the last season before the one just gone. 15 goals, no one spoke about him because it was Saka and it was Starboy and it was Ødegaard, the captain lover. It was never Martinelli. And it should have been because he was our top scorer. Nobody would have known it. He was the top goal scorer. And all of a sudden, people are like, yeah, he's kind of done at Arsenal. Trust me, he ain't done. He ain't done. Left back, left centre mid, striker, new Martinelli. That's the way I see it. Great question. Really enjoyed that one. Big up to you. Garang has said, do you think that Karl Hein is ready to be the backup goalkeeper? No, I don't. And a lot of people will say that's harsh because of the performance he had against Bournemouth. But for me, there's no way that Karl Hein's ready to come in and back up David Raya. He's not better than Aaron Ramsdale. He's not as good as Aaron Ramsdale. I wouldn't say he's any better than Dan Bentley or this Setford kid, if I'm honest, from what I've seen. Played well, deserved his flowers. I think he's going on loan. I don't think he's good enough to back up So no would be the answer to that one. This one comes in from Will. He says, do you think that Martinelli should be playing up front as the main striker, especially with his pace? I am amazed that we've not seen Martinelli up front at all under Mikel Arteta. There must be a reason for it. There must be a reason that he does not believe that he's good enough. Maybe it's his hold-up play isn't there. Maybe it's his strength just isn't there at the moment. Maybe it's the fact that he's got his head down all the time. But when Unai Emery actually did start to play Martinelli there, when he first burst on the scene as a 17, 18-year-old, he scored 10 goals up front. I honestly believed that I always believed he was going to be a number 9, but I didn't think he was going to be a number 9 until the age of around 25, 26. So maybe he's got a couple of years, but I don't think personally. I love this from Shepley. He ain't done, Dan, but his neck will be if he don't lift his head. I absolutely love that. That is absolutely class. I absolutely love that. That is quality. Let's keep these questions coming in, man. I'm going to be here for a while, so let's get these questions in. I do like questions from you guys. It is great to hear from you all and hear what you guys are thinking, because what you guys say matters as far as I'm concerned. So put your questions in, and I'm going to start starring them. Make sure you put a Q at the start of it. And also, there's 600 in here now, and we only have 265 likes. Let's get that up to 400. Come on, I'm being optimistic, but let's put a like on this video and a subscribe, and let's make sure we get a couple of people that buy these beard trimmers, man, because all you got to do is click on the pinned comment, and then you can go follow the instructions. Beard and face, beard hedger, 20% off. Let's go, people. Let's go. Big up to all of you in the house. Saskia Guna says, we beat Man United pre-season, Dan? Question mark. What lineup are you thinking? Is Smith-Rowe heading back to London yet? So let's ask to the latter first. I don't think we'll see Smith-Rowe now. I think Smith-Rowe is going to get that sorted out. Fulham move. I don't think he'll have a pre-season with us. Obviously, Tommy Astor and Tierney are injured. I think that we will draw against Manchester United. I don't think we've got the squad at the moment to be looking at taking 3 points here, but I could be wrong. I expect to see a very similar squad that started the game against Bournemouth. I expect to see Cole Hine in goal. I expect to see Ben White and Timber starting. I expect to see the likes of potentially Jacob Kiwior playing, because if he is going to be on the market, I expect to see him starting. At left back, I think they're going to keep Lewis Skelly because he's been very good there, very impressive there. The only thing they could do is maybe play Kiwior left back there and then have Heaven in the middle or Heaven next to Timber. Partey, I think, needs a game because apparently he looked pretty leggy, so I imagine he'll need the fitness minutes. I expect to see Ethan Nwaneri again. I expect to see Martin Ødegaard again. I expect to see Jorginho. I expect to see Nelson and Nketiah again. So no real shocks, I wouldn't have thought, for the lineup. No real shocks. That's what I'd be doing anyway. That's for sure. Make sure you do me a favor, that guy D. Slap the likes up, people. Subscribe to Dan. Thank you so much, my bro. Really appreciate that. And make sure you do that, people. It would be great to see a few new faces in the house and a few of you join the community as we go towards the target, which is 30k next. So please make sure that you do that. This one comes in from Allah. Says, Dan, we really need a cover for Saka, especially if Nelson's out. Who's your choice other than Nico Williams? Okay, other than Nico Williams, my choice to cover for Saka is Pedro Neto. And my choice to cover for Smith-Rowe is Eze. Now, a lot of people think that we just get Eze and he can cover a few. And I would agree with that, absolutely. But if we're losing Smith-Rowe and Nelson, don't we need 2 players to come in? That would be my question mark. Unless you have faith in Fabi Vieira or Ethan Nwaneri and you believe we don't need anybody, I would suggest that Eze and Neto would be good, or Eze and Williams would be good. So that's where I'm going to go with that one. But big up for your question, my bro. Kismayo, he says, Dan, do you remember when we had Patrick Vieira, Gilberto Silva, Edu, Ray Parler for midfield, and the forwards were TT, Dennis Bergkamp, who? Sullivan, Wiltord and Kanu, and now we have Jorginho, Rice and Partey. Useless, all of them. Okay, let's answer this one, because I honestly believe that this is a great point. When people say to me, oh, what happens if we buy him? What happens with this player? We're building a squad now, people. We've been so used for so long for having 11, 12, 13 players. We need 19, 20. So I take you back to the Invincibles day, right? I really do. I take you back to that Invincibles era where we had 4 strikers. Now, we played 4-4-2, granted. Most people who don't have 3 strikers. So is Havertz and Jesus enough? No. We're going to need one more. And people can throw, Trossard can play there, Martinelli can play there, Jack Frost can play there. I don't care who can play there. You need 3 strikers, right? That's what needs to happen. So for me, personally, when I go back to that era, the 4 in midfield that we had, were Vieira, Gilberto, Edo, and Parla. Up top, we had Kanu and Wiltord that were back up for Henry and Bergkamp. We had Freddie Ljungberg, we had Robin van Persie, we had Reyes, and we had Pires. And Fabregas and Flamini were in that as invincible team as well, by the way. They could just come the season after that we're getting into the side. That was the strength in depth that we had. We need those days back because that's what Manchester City do, people. Yeah, that's what Manchester City do. They look at their back line and they go, oh, shame about Diaz. Akanji, in you come. Oh, shame about Nathan Ake. Vardy, and then they do the same in their midfield and the same with their wide players and the same up top with Alvarez. So for me, that's what we've got to get to, man. That's the level. So yeah, let's see where we go there. Big up for your question though, bro. Chris Ward says, Dan, not Arsenal related, but do you think Cozy Adubri will start for Brighton? Well, it kind of is Arsenal related because obviously he's a player that was at Arsenal. I will say this. I went to a game with my dad at the Emirates where we played Juventus in a friendly when the World Cup was on in the crazy, crazy Winter World Cup, right? And I honestly believe, personally, that him and Ethan Wanyeri, when they came on, looked talented. And I'll be very interested to see what Brighton do with Cozy Dubry. Watch this space. That's all I will say. Can someone have a look and see if Elliot's taking the mick here or if he's serious about the Pep Guardiola news? I guess he's mucking around. But if there is some Pep Guardiola news, please let me know because I'm trying to star some comments. So let me know what he means by that. Or maybe Elliot, you can tell us because I haven't seen it. There we go. Forder on Football, make sure you go follow Alex, please. Absolute legend. One of the best production level podcasts that I've seen and been a part of. So please make sure you go follow Alex on Forder on Football, please. Okay, this is apparently what it is. Breaking news. Pep Guardiola says he will not rule out a Man City contract extension. Okay. Listen, I'm not shocked by this at all. Because if he's asked a question, are you going to say at Man City? He's not going to say, no, I'm leaving, like Klopp did. So it's not, he is the easiest way out for him is to say, yeah, I wouldn't rule out staying. I'm quite happy here. So I wouldn't take this as, oh my God, he's staying for another 5 years. I just would not personally. But big up Elliot for letting us know, man. I do appreciate that. I do love it when there's breaking news when we're live. So fair play. Yeah, I thought he said that the other day. I don't know that was breaking news. I think that was the other day that he said that. So yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is from Kwataka, who says, thoughts on Martinelli featuring more on the right side as a rotation for Saka? That could be an option, to be fair. We saw him come on at the Etihad, didn't we, last season, where he was on the right-hand side. And do you know what? It was the most frustrating thing because he actually would have played on the left where he normally is. He would have been in Trossard's position and he would have just gone on goal and had a shot. Or he would have squared it to Trossard, who would have put it in. Because Trossard didn't have the legs, that was the chance. And Man City fans were like, you didn't go for it against us. You didn't deserve to win. That's where you lost the league. Nonsense. We square that ball, yeah, and it's a goal. So, I don't know. Absolute. I don't know what Man City fans were on that. I think they got a bit salty, really, that they wanted to try and beat us and couldn't. So there we go. Book of Eli says, do you think we should be looking at a 6 as well as Arteta realised Rice's best position is an 8 and Rice struggles on the half turn? So I'd like to see a Zubamendi come in. Well, Zubamendi is not going to leave. He's staying. Unfortunately, he's made it very clear that he wants to. I personally believe that we are probably going to get 2 in midfield. But I don't think one of them is going to be Zubamendi. I do, however, believe that it probably will be 2 Spanish lads, and they are the players we've spoken about tonight. So please make sure you do go back and check that out if you've not heard earlier on in the show who we're talking about. Kismayo as well. Gunnar says, I've been saying this since the link on Nico Williams. I believe we should stay away from Nico Williams because fans saw 7 games at the Euros and their expectations very high. The dude is not that dude. I don't rate him. Do you know what? You're not the only one, bro. There are a lot of people that have said he's not had a great season in La Liga. He's not been outstanding. He's just been half decent. And he wouldn't be a fantastic signing. I kind of disagree because of what I've seen and heard and what I've seen in Athletic Club is that he is a good player. He can play right and left. He is exciting. He's got unbelievable potential. So I'm going to disagree and say that it would be a good signing. However, I respect your opinion for sure. Absolutely, I do. And big up to yourself because you're a member to the channel as well. If you do want to be a member like Ismail Gunnar, then please make sure you click like, subscribe, and join. And you can pay a minimal fee to support the channel, which will be amazing. So thank you so much for that. This one comes in from Shepley. Which team will be our first draw and our first loss? Wow, we are predicting ahead of it, are we now? Wow. The first draw, Manchester City. The first loss. Let me get our fixtures up. And I'll tell you. I hate predicted losses, though. Horrible question, but fair play to you. Okay. Let's share the screen. Share screen. Here we go. Let's do it. Here we go. Where are we? We've got to start with Wolves, haven't we? Where's Wolves? Right. I'm going to predict it now. I hate doing this, by the way. No one click me up. Everyone's going to now. Okay, no problem. Potentially a draw, I would say, at Villa Park. Potentially. But I think we should beat them. I'm going to have faith and say we'll beat them. I'm going to have faith and say we'll beat Tottenham. First draw will be at the Etihad. And the first loss. Interesting. We're going to have lost a game by now, aren't we? I'm trying to be confident here. First loss, I really don't know here. I really don't know. Do you know what? I don't like to do this, but if you had to put me on the spot, I want a good start, but it might not be. Maybe we draw to Villa and we lose at the Etihad. Let's move on. I don't want to even discuss that anymore. I always like to answer questions, though. So I should have just said I'm not answering it. But fair play. That was a really good question, by the way. See, I like stuff like that because it challenges you, right? It puts you on the spot. That's what you've got to be about. This one comes in from Bird. It says, if you could swap Arteta for Pep tomorrow, would you? Well, of course I would. He's the best manager in the world. It's like saying, do you want to swap your Mini Cooper for your, Aston Martin DB9? You've got one that you're trying to learn, one that's absolutely blasting it. So, of course you would, 100%. But that's not going to happen. I did have a question the other day, though, that said if Pep Guardiola was in charge of this Arsenal side and Arteta was in charge of the Man City side, who would win the league? And I said it would be Pep with Arsenal. But no, apparently it would be Arteta with Man City was what most people believed. I don't agree with that one bit. I think Pep is that good, if I'm honest. Let's see what happens. This one comes in next. I cannot say... Oh, I can say it's Oompa Loompa. I love that. All right, man. Do you think if we got Ruiz or Merino, Williams, Tony, or Gyökeres, we could win the Champions League? I think we can win the Champions League anyway. The reason I say that is not because I think the squad's amazing and good enough. I just think it's because the Champions League, I've seen teams worse than this Arsenal side win it before. I saw Porto win it under Mourinho. I saw Di Matteo win it with Chelsea. I saw Rafa Benitez win it with Liverpool. And if I'm honest with you, I've seen teams get to finals that have not been nowhere near as good as this Arsenal side. So for me, I think we can win the Champions League. Yeah, of course I do. I think the players have got to get the mentality right. And I think they've got to start to understand that, how you get across the line. I also believe that winning breeds confidence. And I'll say this, if we win the Carabao Cup, which everyone thinks is a boring energy drink cup that no one cares about, which I think is disgraceful, by the way. If we won that, I would say we've got more chance of winning another trophy after that. That's how confident I think, that's how badly I think this team needs to win right now. There we go. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think if we won that cup, we'd have much more chance of winning something else because the players will understand what winning is together. It will breed confidence, and I think they can go for one more. So that's what I would say. Raymond, big up yourself, bro. He says, you can only register 17 foreign players. We currently have 14, so we can only buy 3 more if we don't sell you. Listen, we have to be careful about the homegrown status. You're absolutely right. I think there needs to be an opportunity for us to take a look at that for sure. Let's take a look at... where are we? Struggling with some of these now. Here we go. There it is. We're back. We're back in the house. Sorry, my computer was being all funny there. Kevin, the new Arsenal black away kit, hit or miss? Miss. I am sorry, people. It is a miss for me. I will not be buying that one. I do not feel personally like that is a good away kit. While we are on kits, red and white for the home, yellow and blue for the away, and black for the away for the third kit. But black and gold, because that was my favourite away kit we've had in years. Last season's away kit. That was sexy. That was really sexy. Oh no, sorry, 2 years ago. Sorry, that black and gold one we had 2 years ago. Honestly, like it was, it was cold, man. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was slick. One of my favourites. I must say, the one behind me here, the bruised banana, is my favourite. I like the one behind me here, actually. I think the blue one is a really nice one. And I'm not too sure about this one. I just get the Lynx Africa, if I'm honest. I just get Lynx Africa vibes. I don't get the green. I understand red and black, maybe, just about, but green? What's all that about? I understand it's supposed to represent Africa and all that, so I get it, but I'm just not feeling it. Don't mind the turquoise green one. It's okay. It's better than the one we had a few years ago, which I thought was horrible. Didn't mind this one, but a turquoise green colour is not for me, but they've kind of brought that back a bit. Not too sure. I like the badge, though. I like the Adidas badge, actually. I prefer the Adidas badge to that one. I think that one's nice, but I think the other one's better. I think the old school Adidas is really sick. So anyway, enough about kits. Next question. This comes in from Curtis. He says, if we buy an Gyökeres, where does that leave Jesus? Is he Saka's backup? Do you know what, mate? I've been saying this for a while. I think Gabriel Jesus is a wide man. The reason I think he's a wide man is two things. One, I don't think he's clinical, and I don't think he's a number 9. And the other thing I'll say is, I've spoken to so many Manchester City fans when we signed this guy and Zinchenko, and they told me the following. Gabriel Jesus is a brilliant footballer, but do not play him in the 9 because he won't score you goals. Play him out wide. They told me about Zinchenko. Really good on the ball, but don't play him at left back because he can't defend. Turns out they were right. We should have listened to him, really, shouldn't we? Because they have been watching him for the last 4 or 5 years at the time. So, yes, I think he should be played as Saka's. He should be Saka's backup for me. He might not be able to be now because I believe he'll probably be third choice striker now or second choice striker now if we don't get one. So we'll see. But Jesus, massive season for him, man. Massive season. So he will get chances. Ronnie says, should Arsenal put a buyback option in the Smith-Rowe sale? I don't think we will. I don't think we will. I think we know that if we buy him back, he's not going to be starting for us. So I don't think we will. But good question, Ronnie. This one comes in from Zia Khalid, who says, do you think we start the season with Ramsdale still at the club? I think we might do, yeah. I think we might start the season with him on the bench. Whether he'll stay there before the, window ends, I don't know. I just don't see what club he goes to, guys. I really don't understand where he's going to go. Like, if I had to put money on Ramsdale to move to a club, where are you putting your money? I mean, let me know in the chat. I'll ask you guys now. Just put a team name in the chat box. Where will Ramsdale play his football next season? If it's Arsenal, put in Arsenal. If it's Newcastle, Chelsea, Manchester United, believe it or not. If it's Southampton or Wolves or Bournemouth or Brentford. I mean, Bournemouth fans want him back, by the way. They really do. Manchester City were linked with him, but have kind of ruled him out. Chelsea have ruled him out. Where's he going to go? I mean, Brighton, Leicester, Southampton, Newcastle, West Ham, Bayern Munich. Wow, okay. Interesting. Arsenal, yeah. I actually think he probably will stay at Arsenal, if I'm honest, because I just don't see anyone going for him. Ipswich, I'd actually love that. Love for him to go to Ipswich. Real Madrid, I don't think so. Lincoln, very funny. He's definitely better than that. Yeah, look, basically what I'm saying, and you guys are agreeing, Brentford's coming in now. Who is going to get him? We have no idea, do we? We have absolutely no idea. Maybe not on Forest. Good shout, actually. So, yeah, look, who knows? Good question. Nando says, do you think that Manchester United finish in the top 4 and will Liverpool drop out of the top 4? Thoughts? This is a good question. At the moment, as things stand, I have both of them in the top 4. I believe the new structure at Manchester United and the signings that they are going to bring in, with or without Ten Hag, I think they'll get top 4. And what I mean by that is if Ten Hag starts well, they'll keep him and they'll up because they believe they can get top 4. If they're not going to, they will pull the plug. They are ruthless, these people, and he'll be gone and they'll bring somebody in. I don't know who it will be. It could be bloody Zidane. It could be Simone Inzaghi. It could be Carlo Ancelotti, whoever the hell it is they want, right? I'm just going to throw names out there. Thomas Tuchel, maybe, somebody like that, can come in and I think get Manchester United top 4. The other teams, I think if I had to pick right now, it would be Man City to win it as things stand. Things can change this window. Arsenal second, Liverpool still third, and Man United fourth. But there's still too long to go before we can do predictions, man. But big up to yourself, Nando. Do appreciate that one. This last couple we're coming to now. Umpalunka said, would you pick to win the Premier League or the Champions League? I am desperate to win the Premier League, but I'm even more desperate to win the Champions League. Now, I've always said that we need to win the Premier League first. We should always prioritise the league. But the reason I want the Champions League even more badly now is to shut Manchester City and Chelsea fans up. We're bigger than you. Where's your European trophy? Oh, please, give it a rest. You're not bigger than Arsenal. You're more successful in the last 2 decades. I hold my hands up and admit that. but you ain't bigger than Arsenal. We're the third biggest club in England, behind Liverpool and Man United, and those two only. If we win the Champions League, they'll have no leg to stand on. So that is why I would choose the Champions League. But you know what? Both. Let's say both. That's for sure. Let's take a look at here. I want the double this year. Absolutely, Nando. 100%, bro. 100%. Okay, this one comes in from S. Bradbury, who says, as good as he is when fit, with Tomiyasu being injured yet again in pre-season, should we be looking to move him on rather than Kivior? Does he deserve one more season? Okay, this is a good question for you guys in the chat. Tomiyasu, Kivior, and Zinchenko. You've got to keep one. What is it? You got to keep. What am I trying to say here? Keep one, bench one, sell one. There you go. Keep one, bench one, sell one. Tommy, Zinchenko, Kivior. I'll be keeping Tomiyasu. I'll be benching Kivior, and I'll be selling Zinchenko. That's what I'll be doing. Personally, I don't feel like Tomiyasu has definitely got a future away from Arsenal. I think he's out for a couple of weeks. That'll be it. Personally, I feel like Zinchenko is just done now. I don't like him at left back. I don't think he's good defensively. And I actually believe Kivior's got a future at Arsenal if he wants it there to be a cover at a centre-back. The problem is he doesn't want to be. So it might be that we have to keep Zinchenko and put him in some form of squad rotation role, particularly in midfield or something away from left back. And then we sell Kivior. So that's a really good question, though, man. I think Kivior leaving is a bit of a strange one, but I don't think we'll miss the player, if I'm honest with you. Will has said, do you think that Timber eventually takes over White for the right back spot as Calafiori will be the left back? I don't think so, bro, because Ben White has been phenomenal. I think that'd be incredibly harsh. I don't think Ben White is a better centre back than Timber. I think Timber's a better centre back than White. And from what I've seen so far, I have to say Ben White's a better right back than Timber. Calafiori, I think, will be a left back, but I also believe Timber can still play there. And I think that if you look at what Julian Timber is about, I think he'll be one of those players who's like a utility player, you know, like Flamini was for Arsenal. Maybe James Milner has been in the past. I think Timber can be that guy who's so important to the squad. And I'm interested to see his role. I really am. I'm interested to see his role for sure. Listen, we're going to leave it there, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I mean that. It's been so enjoyable listening to your thoughts tonight in terms of your questions. And I hope I've got through as much as I can in terms of your questions tonight. Please make sure you do me a favor. I want you to hit the like button. There's still 550 of you in here. It's brilliant numbers. Make sure you do me a favor and hit the like button. We're close to 400 people. That is really good, actually. Fair play to you all. I really appreciate that. If you can hit the like button, prove to me that you've liked tonight's stream. That would be a really good indication that you've enjoyed tonight's content. Please make sure you do me a favor as well and subscribe, because we're getting very close now to 22k. And I want to make sure that we hit 30k pretty soon. If we can do it as soon as possible, amazing. But I'd absolutely love if you can subscribe to tonight's show. And please, as you leave and hit like and subscribe, please make sure that you click on the pinned comment and go and buy yourself the beard trimmers from Manscaped, because it will prove, Manscaped, that you guys are listening to me, that you guys are enjoying the content, and that you are supporting the sponsors, because then that means that they support the channel and it continues to grow. So please make sure you do that. All you've got to do is click on the pinned comments. It will take you straight to manscaped.com. You click on beard trimmers or through beard and face and click on the beard hedger. Add it to your cart, go to the checkout, and you'll see that 20% has been taken off automatically. So please make sure you do that, people. It will mean the absolute world to me. And drop me a line if you do. Drop me a line in the comments section, please, to let me know that you have done that. And yeah, we'll sort you out something special. 500 of you still here. You know what to do. Hit the like button. Take it easy, people. And we will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. I have got a special guest that you all know very, very well coming on the show, Mr. Harry Symeou. Take it easy, people. We're out of here. Peace.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back. But this time, it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.